You're listening.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala. This morning I have Carolyn Stash. She is with Atlas Trax, and she has been so kind to spend her time with me and share some of the stories that she has. Good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Riscala. Happy Sunday to everybody.
Yes, it is a beautiful day. I took the dog, normal thing. I get up in the morning, take the dogs out for their morning walk, and I was surprised, but not so quite surprised. It was pretty warm already this morning.
It was a really warm weekend. On Friday, luckily there was a tournament that went back on with 190 boats, so I had a little booth and I had to set that up. Of course, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh,
boy, was it hot out there!
You talk about baking alive! My goodness. Wow. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on out in the water. We got a marine report this morning from the National Weather Service. They are saying that the winds are going to be southwest, 10 to 15 knots. Gusts to around 20, seas are about 2 feet. Looks like it's going to be nice, especially in the intercoastal waters. With regard to the beaches are open. There are some restrictions that are going on. You've got to be aware, be mindful of the CDC guidelines, but the beaches are open. Just remember what we said about the guidelines. Our beaches do have some rocks, so just be careful of them. There doesn't seem to be any warnings about the riptides, so it looks like it's going to be a good day for the beaches. The tides today, well, we've already had a high tide, 2:01 this morning. The next low tide will be at 8:23, about a half hour from now, roughly, 20 minutes from now. Next high tide will be 2:37 this afternoon, and the following low tide will be 8:47 tonight. So if you're fishing for tides, we've already had the high this morning. 8:23 will be the low, 2:37 will be the next high, 8:47 will be the last low of the day. Looking at the map, Florida looks pretty clean. We have some disturbed weather, but the majority of that weather is moving offshore. There is a little bit of weather coming in from the west side of the state that will be coming across. That won't happen until later this afternoon, and most of that looks like it's going to be above us in the South Florida area, somewhere around the Tampa, maybe a little further north of that. So it looks like it is going to be an absolutely gorgeous day to get out there and enjoy what we have.
Absolutely.
Were you able to do some fishing last week?
I wasn't, but we're going to be going out right after the show, and I was remembering something my father used to tell me as a young girl. He always used to tell me, go outside, and why don't you go outside and fly a kite? So we're hoping the wind picks up a little bit more, and we're going to try and get an afternoon bite. There's some sailfish that are pretty close inshore, and hopefully we'll grab a couple of baits, maybe 6 baits, and just go out and see what we can come up with.
Well, I shared with you that my son chartered a boat for me, and we went out and caught some of the biggest snook I've ever caught in my life. Here it is, over a week later, I still have a hard time because we threw those fish back. We had to put them back because it wasn't snook season. I just had a difficult time with that. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I just thought about that when you were talking about going out fishing and doing your thing. Well, good luck. Tight lines on that. I know that sometimes you actually do better at the dock than you do out on the ocean. I've had a friend of mine, it's been many years now, that they lived down in the Keys, and they lived right on the backwater. And they lived right near that, I can't think of the channel that went through. But we would fish off the dock, off the back there, and my goodness, we would catch more fish there than we would out, heading out into the ocean sometimes. A little bit of everything was back there, snappers, groupers, even snook. A little bit of everything. It was really great. And the one thing that I did enjoy about it is if we could catch it at the right time, when the tide would sit still for about, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, the tide just sits still. It seemed as though right then, when everything was kind of just in between moving back and forth, we would have a tremendous amount of luck catching fish. Some of the things that I just think about, some of the things that we did, we would have a net with us, and occasionally a crab or two would come by. We'd grab the crab, cut him open, use him for bait. Shrimp would come by. We'd grab a shrimp, and we'd use that for bait. Really, just something to keep your head busy the whole time. You know, you're looking for shrimp, you're looking for crabs, you're looking to see if you got a bite. It was a lot of fun. So I envy you. You have a little place, a little hideout, if you will, that you can go and do your thing.
Absolutely. And you know what? You know this. I try really well to recycle my cans and my food, and I try not to put any food in the garbage can. So I'll just walk out to our dock, and I pick the same piling every time, and I'll throw chicken bones or lettuce, whatever I've got off my plate. And you watch it sink down to the bottom, and little mangrove snappers come out, or see a catfish here and there, a bird comes down. So I'll just dangle my feet on the dock, and that's the best way to do something is totally free. Oh. And you were mentioning getting bait. When we have to buy bait. Bait's $100 for a dozen of fish, which is why if you're going to go out for a little time, go buy 6, because you're probably, if you don't catch anything, you're letting them go right back in the ocean, and then you might as well throw $100 in the water.
I didn't realize
catching your own bait's the way to go.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that expensive. When my son took me, when he chartered that boat. The captain took us to a couple of areas where we actually caught some small fish. We caught a couple of ling snappers and some grunt, and I don't remember what he called the other ones. They're like shiners, like big shiners. And I had no idea that bait was that $100. And what do you get for $100?
12 fish, and at the tournament over the weekend, they were selling something for $200 a dozen.
I'm in the wrong business.
Imagine these tournaments are going out with 4, 5, 6 dozen bait. It's almost more than filling it with fuel.
My God, I'm in the wrong business. I need to figure out how to get in the bait business. Oh my! I had no idea it was that expensive. So I take it's $100. Yeah. $100 for a dozen, and they're live, right? Wow. So you only get.
He has a bait business, and they'll come deliver them to you, or you have to go meet them up in the inlet, and they pass a bucket full of fish back and forth, and you head on your merry way. But you'll see a lot of young kids, which is so great. 12, 13, 14-year-olds will go out in their little Boston whalers and try and get a little bait business going, and get out early, catch some fish, and meet these fishermen going out the inlet. Right now is the perfect time.
Wow.
And make a couple bucks for school.
Wow. Yeah, a nice couple of bucks. Oh my gosh, if they're $100 a dozen, Lord have mercy. That really is a shocker to me. I had no idea that the bait was so expensive. My gosh, I don't use live bait when I go. I take the grandkids now. I get worms and go buy a couple of bucks and buy some worms and go out in the backwaters. Wow, that is kind of a shocker. My goodness.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when we're looking for snapper, I know there's a big rule about putting bananas on the boat, but there's some funny videos about people that'll just put a banana piece on a hook and put it in the water and catch beautiful snapper, yellowtail snapper.
No way.
And so do you really need to use $100 bait?
No way. Are you telling me that people go fishing with bananas?
Yeah, look it up on YouTube if you see people catching fish with bananas, and because they strike whatever they see, and you can catch dolphin with them, but the challenge is bananas are usually not let on a boat because of people have a superstition about not catching fish, and that's the funny part about it.
That really, I say I love doing this show because I always learn something. I never heard of using a banana for bait. Maybe I'm naive, but I never heard of using a banana for bait. Oh my goodness. It looks like we have Robert on. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
Have you got a banana?
Everybody?
Have you got a banana
Good morning,
for bait?
Robert.
Good morning.
Have you got a banana for bait, Robert?
No.
Have you ever used banana for bait?
I have not.
All right, now I don't feel so bad.
I have eaten bananas on a boat, though. So.
What is the thing with bananas? Carolyn was telling me it's like what is it, bad juju? What is it?
It's superstition is what it is.
Yeah.
It is, and I'll tell you how it started because I got challenged to look it up not too long ago. When the ships were coming over from England carrying fruit and things like that for folks, they would rot out so quickly on the vessel and get the worms, and then people would get sick on board because of the rotting fruit and the acid and just the insects. So they kind of somehow it transitioned into no bananas on a boat for fishing.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, I've never used
whatever it is. It's nonsense. Take the banana, eat the banana. It won't stop you from catching fish.
I've never used a banana for bait. Well, I'm glad that you are in the same boat as me, Robert. That first I've heard of it this morning is using a banana to catch a snapper.
Never have.
The superstition.
I have used
just take
a
a banana.
sandwich.
That's great. With bread and mustard?
Yes. Actually.
I'm laughing so hard I'm crying.
Just torn into quarters. So.
Oh, Lord. Did you get to do any fishing this last week, Robert?
I did not. Our trip was canceled. I was supposed to be over on the West Coast doing some shallow water grouper fishing, and he said it's been so hot that the bite's dead for the shallow water fishing. The water temperature was 92 degrees outside of Tampa the other day. Which will send fish deep, that's for sure. So he said after some big rains come and the water cools off, he'll call me and we'll go back and try it again. So
it has been unbelievably hot, just unbelievably hot.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Temperature was 92, and I couldn't believe it. I was trying to find temperature gradients, and on the East Coast here, it got up to 86. But that gets that high over there, Robert, huh? 92?
That's pretty warm.
Well, it's shallow. The Gulf is really shallow, so it doesn't take much to heat it up, I guess. So.
Wow. With it being so warm,
we had to go out. I went out over there a couple of years ago. I went out with some guys. They have to go like 50 miles just to get to 100 feet of water.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard something like a mile a foot or a foot a mile or something like that. For every mile you go out, you drop a foot.
It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know how far it is, but we went forever.
That's. I mean, we like over here. It'd be like going to Bimini for Pete's sake, just to get into 50 feet of water. Wow, that's crazy. Well, it has.
Yeah, I can.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
I was going to say I could tell you how far it does. You do have to go fishing for those grounds out there on the west coast of Florida. We have a couple clients that have trackers that their family kind of track them, and they go 199 miles west of Sanibel.
Lord,
and there's some crazy drop-off that goes from like 200 feet to thousands of feet. And they stay there. They anchor on the edge, and they stay overnight, and they fish and fish and fish like crazy, and then come back, the next morning. So that's a long way to go. That would be like going 4 times to Bimini.
Wow. I didn't realize people were doing stuff I didn't even know that existed. I thought, I don't know, I'm naive. I thought that generally speaking, the Gulf was, relatively shallow in comparison to the Atlantic. I didn't realize you get out there far enough that it really does get pretty deep, huh? Wow.
Oh, yeah. But you got to go way out there.
200 miles, my goodness. If we went 200 miles offshore here, we'd be past Cuba. We'd be on the other side of Cuba. Lord have mercy. That is a long ways to go. Gee, many. So I think they have probably a large vessel that has to handle that, right?
Actually, they're going in large center consoles. What they're doing is hauling boats from this coast over to the west coast, putting them in the water, going out for almost 41 hours and coming back. So can you imagine not being able to track your family and being worried about them overnight? And I'll post up some, they just did this a couple days ago. I'll post up some maps so we can show how far, and you can see the satellite view of where it goes from shallow to really, really deep. And, those guys are diehards. They're out there in beanbag chairs for 40 hours.
That is some serious diehard people. Very serious commitment.
Yeah, Hubbard's that does they advertise with us every month in the magazine. Hubbard's Marina out of Tampa. They've got a 39-hour charter that goes out there. So.
Holy smokes! Well, speaking of the magazine, Robert, how's the magazine doing? Are we on the latest cover yet?
We have one out now that's been out for about 3 or 4 weeks. Starting to work on another one.
And we have
slowly coming in.
Cool.
And ours is we number ours. We don't do them by month. We just number them because we do them when there's enough stuff to do one. So.
I'm curious, what number are you on now?
This will be 26. Will be the next one.
Wow. Well, it is a digital format, so that's one of the advantages of this. So you don't just get to look at text, you get to see pictures, you get to see videos. It is a subscriber-supported magazine, so if you have something you'd like to share with Robert and it falls along the guidelines, you can send it in to Robert and he'll consider it for you. If they want to send pictures or something like that, Robert, where do they send that to?
Send it to pages@flfishmag.com. And the magazine, it is at www.flfishmag.com.
Cool. Hey, before you go, I know that one of the other things that you do is insurance. Are you still doing the insurance?
Absolutely. And there is one thing I wanted to bring up. The tournament that we were supposed to be at this weekend has been postponed until August 14th and 15th. That's the Jaws Dolphin Tournament in Isla Mirada. They postponed it just due to coronavirus and nonsense interfering with registrations and whatnot. So that tournament has been moved till the 14th and 15th of August.
Wow.
Robert, that's great news because I was up at the Big Dog Fat Cat tournament this weekend in Palm Beach, which did go off with 190 boats, surprisingly.
190
and I was asked to guest fish that tournament, so I'm glad that it was postponed. I'll have to reach back out to that boat again.
190. Wow, that must have been a sight to see.
They had at the weigh-in. They had the 6-foot little spots to stand on, and the biggest fish was a 50-pound wahoo, and then a lot of small dolphin, and nothing else really weighed in. But yeah, they kept everybody social distance. The silent auction item, you had to stand on a 6-foot square before you moved to the next table. A little awkward.
Wow.
Yeah, well, the state of Florida has not exactly done a phenomenal job of coronavirusing. So.
I think it's all in the way they count it too, Robert. They've changed the way that they count it, which has exponentially increased the numbers as well. They're counting asymptomatic
well, I only get
people.
My information from one person. He's the CEO of Cleveland Clinics here in Martin County, and he's the only one I talk to. I've fished with him for 30 years, so I trust him. So.
Yeah, no, I would too. Yeah. All right, my friend.
But, anyway,
I wanted to.
The tournaments are going off. There. By the way, there were Aaron Sutcliffe, captain out of Isla Mirada, 52-pound mahi last week.
Oh, golly, my dream. Wow, nice catch. And who was that? Aaron.
Yeah. Aaron Sutcliffe.
Yeah.
He fishes for. I forget the name of the charter, but he's out of Marathon, Florida, and you can find him just by looking him up, Aaron Sutcliffe, on Facebook. But
amazing.
Main Attraction Charters, that's who he's fishing with, so.
Perfect.
Nice. How many? 52 pounds?
52 pounds.
Oh, golly. That's
big old boy.
You aren't kidding. I think you missed me last week. You didn't get to hear. My son took me fishing, and we caught some serious snook. I mean, some serious snook. I think the smallest one was about 35 pounds. And I had such a hard time, Robert, because I had to throw him back. I had to put him back. It wasn't snook season.
I know.
And every time I'd put one back, I go, gosh, it goes dinner.
You just wait dinner. September 1st. There won't be one anywhere. So
is that when it opens back up? Is September?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and they know.
Yeah, well.
They'll sit stacked up in the inlets for months, and September 1st, they're gone.
Maybe that's why they do it. But I have...
Riscala, I might have to charter a boat September 1 just to take you out.
Good gravy. I've never seen any... The water, first of all, this was in Palm Beach Inlet, what they call Palm Beach Inlet, which was by the Peanut Island. The water was almost crystal clear. At 30 feet deep, I could look down there and I could see hundreds of them down there. And I was like a little kid. We're pulling up and I'm going, wait, stop. I see them all. They're all down there. And he had to pull up a little way so he could anchor, and then we drift back on him. But, yeah, it was amazing. It was truly amazing. Never experienced anything like that before. Literally anchored, and within minutes we were pulling up seriously sized fish. We weren't pulling up little grunts and stuff like that. These were big fish, and every one of them was just about as big as the other. It was amazing. One heck of a fishing trip. I'll never forget that. One of the best fishing trips of my life.
Isn't it?
Oh, my gosh. So I'm curious, Robert, you do a lot of snook fishing. Is that common to have it like that?
Like what?
To go out
that
and like
plentiful?
to go out and like. First of all, I'd never realized that snook. I mean, I knew that they were out there, but I never caught snook out like almost in the ocean kind of thing. It's always been in like backwaters
the
under.
inlets. The inlets are the place to catch them. Jupiter Inlet is famous for its snook fishing, but but like I said, come September 1st, it won't be like that.
See, I never.
Well, you can't keep them because it will not be like that after September 1st. So,
my experience with snook fishing has always been like backwaters, mangroves, docks. You know, typically at night. I prefer snook fishing at night where you got a light and they hang around the light, that kind of thing. I'd go out there in the ocean at 30 feet deep, and there were literally hundreds of them down there. I was shocked. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
When I was a kid, we lived in Pompano. Hillsborough Inlet in the evening is the place to catch snook.
Wow. Well,
To the bridge, Robert, because that's my closest inlet.
Yep. Yeah, that and those rocks right on the other side of those rocks outside the inlet. Just can't miss.
Wow.
Bye.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, Carolyn. And when you first start talking, I don't know why it is. When you first start talking, it's a little distorted, then it gets clear. I'm not sure what's causing that.
I'll find out. But Robert, are you on the outside of the jetty or are you on the inside of the inlet?
Both.
Both?
If you're talking about Hillsborough, you can either fish the bridge or there's a little alcove over to the right. If you're going out the inlet, there's a little, like, I don't know what you would call that.
On
a
the
little
side, on the outside, on the beach side.
Yeah.
Looking
and
at
then
that right now.
on the other side of the jetty rocks on the outside.
Perfect. I'm looking at that live camera now. I can see exactly what you're talking about. I'll have to try that area.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
Robert.
where I fished when I was a kid. Spent half my life in that inlet fishing. So.
We're out of time and on to a break, my friend. I want to thank you for taking time to call in. Greatly appreciate it. Wish you an awesome day. I'm going to let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we're going to go to a break. Thanks, Robert.
Out there today, and I'll talk to you
soon. You have a wonderful week. All
you
right.
too. Thanks.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclubb.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Hollywood Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Hollywood Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Hollywood Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Hollywood Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Hollywood Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Hollywood Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah. Fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning to you. If you're just joining us, we will have archives set up. I have finally got that all worked out, and I've been uploading the archives. There will be, easiest way to find them is to go to our Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page. You'll find Fishing in Florida. Click on the Contact Us if you want to listen live, and give us a like while you're there, if you would, please. And you'll see that there is a link there for all of the archives. So if you've missed anything, you can always catch up on it. A big, big thank you to WCET FM 101.7 out of Columbia. That is our home network. That's one of the terrestrial stations that uses our program. KYAH out of Utah. They repeat our program for us. Big, big thank you. Marina Rock Radio out of Miami. Thank you, Marina Rock. Greatly appreciate it. And some of the ways that you can listen to us, first of all, if you've got the TuneIn app, you can tune in Marina Rock Radio, and you can find us there. If you don't have the TuneIn app, we have an app, believe it or not. We have an app. It's absolutely free. It has no spyware. It has no push notifications. It is just a simple app so you can listen to our network. You can find it on the Google Play Store. It is under WCET-FM. It's also under Fishing in Florida. Free to download, free to use. Again, it uses minimal resources on your phone. And the thing that when we put this together, I purposely told the developers I do not want any spyware on there. I do not want any push notifications of any kind. I want people to be able to download it and just listen to the network whenever they want and not have to worry about their phone going off because we're trying to sell them something. So anyway, that's one of the easiest ways to listen to us, download our app. Another way you can listen to us, of course, is to go to our home network, www.wcetfm.com. And that's another way you can listen to us. We have a call-in line. We have a new number for the call-in line. If you guys have unlimited calling, it's 631-359-9399. This morning I have Carolyn Stash. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax. What I say about Carolyn is, if you want to protect what you love to the max, you got to talk to my friend over there, Carolyn. You got to talk to my friend over there, Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax. Go ahead, Carolyn. Good morning. Yeah, you're doing the distortion thing again.
Oh, gosh, I'll have to figure I'll relocate in my office here. But I tell you, absolutely, welcome back. And I know it's early for both of us.
All right, let me bring up my next guest while I can still talk, because there's no telling where we're going from here. This is Terrie Huffman. Terrie is one of the lady anglers that was referred to me by Wanda Stewart, and I know that you are friends with Wanda Stewart, Carolyn. This is someone that Wanda has kind of referred over to us, and would like to welcome her this morning. Welcome, Miss Terrie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Good morning, Terrie.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Beautiful.
Yeah, she's
Wonderful.
still. Can you hear her okay, Terrie?
I can hear her. She does sound like she's getting a little kind of breaking up, like she's in a tunnel.
Yeah, it kind of starts out that way and then she clears right out. So, Terrie, where are you at this morning?
Actually, I'm at home this morning. We live in South Georgia, which we're like 10 minutes from the Florida state line in like 3 different directions. So
Lucky
we
girl.
don't have far to get to where we go.
So you get to be a Florida girl without having to be in Florida.
Yes, sir. That's correct. That is very correct. We fish the Big Bend areas in Florida.
And what kind of fishing is going on over there?
Oh, we got trout, we got red, we have flounder, and this is all inshore. Right now, scalloping season is going on, so you'll have a lot of scallopers out there in the water, so you just kind of have to divert yourself here and there to different areas and basically try to find the fish when you have everybody, snorkeling in the water, looking for the scallops and everything. But anything, cobia and triple tails when they're moving through. And then, of course, you people normal offshore. We go offshore every now and then, but that's for like snapper, grouper, amberjack, and stuff like that. But we're mostly inshore for trout and red and flounder and sheepheads and stuff like that.
When we talked earlier, before you came on, we were talking about the Gulf side and how far you have to go out and be able to get any depth in the water. So when you're doing offshore, are you going out quite a ways?
Oh, offshore, yes. You'll go off for quite a ways. It just depending on, every boat's different, everybody's different, and you'll have some people that'll go out and, oh my gosh, like 80 foot of water, if not more. Some will go out in like 35 foot of water. The fishing that we do, it depends on the tides and how they are, but we normally fish in anywhere from 4 to 7 foot of water.
Oh my. Wow.
For like trout and reds. Like right now, our trouts have moved out further in like 7 to 10 foot of water, the better size ones. The reds, they'll stay in around rocks, oyster bars, and kind of move in and out during the tide. But some of them will kind of go out a little bit deeper as well.
My goodness.
So, Terrie, I have a question. On your Facebook page, you have a whole bunch of fish strung up. Are those trout?
Actually, that was a weekend trip that we did out of Keaton, Florida, and they are trout and reds. And that was mine and my husband's. We went on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we fished that weekend. It was an amazing weekend, actually.
And you're saying you catch those big fish in 7 feet of water?
That's
no,
crazy.
them fish actually, right now in the heat, when it's real hot right now in this time of the year, them trout and reds will, like, literally the trout's like out in that deep of water, like 7 foot of water. They'll go out deeper. But in that particular picture that you're referring to, them were caught in 4 foot of water, 4 or 5 foot of water.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yep. And the water temperature was probably, I believe, around that time of the, it was like probably 55, 60 degrees. In that particular picture where we caught all them fish.
There's 16 of them up there, Carolyn.
Yeah, and I've not ever really trout fished.
Yeah, they're nice trout. We have really nice trout in this area, but we're only allowed to keep 5 trout per person, and which is it's a good thing because it helps keep the trout bigger. And we used to have 1 over 20 in that 5 slot, but they changed the rules to where we can still have 5 trout per person, but now the limit's 15 to 19, and you can only have 1 over 19 per vessel.
Is that Georgia rules or Florida rules, or are they both the same?
It's Florida rules. It's down in they changed the rules, but it's in different zones. Florida has like different zones where they cut them off. Some zones where they cut like some months off. Some zones where they can only keep 3 trout. Our zone where we fish in particularly is the 5 per person, 15 to 19 inches, and only 1 over 19 per vessel. Used to, everybody could have it 15 to 20, and you're allowed to have 1 over 20 per person within your limits. So they changed that, which a lot of these changes they've done, like I said, I don't like to get in political thing about it because some people agree with it, some people don't because of the culling. With some, if you go out there with 4 people in a boat and everybody's, we catch 23 and 24 trout and throw them back nonstop.
Mm.
So I know they want the bigger ones, because they can spawn, put the eggs out, and we can have more. And it will help down in the future if people wouldn't culling them. If you have, decent people that, looks and says, okay, well, we got our 1/19, so let's throw this 23 back. So it's just kind of whatever. But it helps in the future, I know, but sometimes it can hurt.
Wow.
To catch those pretty trout on?
On them trout that particular weekend, we were fishing with cut bait under a popping cork and also plugs, suspending plugs or top water plugs. We were just kind of going back and forth with them. Whatever they were biting on, we were catching them.
What kind of?
And it was like crazy. It was a wonderful weekend. We threw a lot back that weekend too.
What kind of line do you use?
Well, if we use a diversity of line, we'll use the spider wire. We like braided line, different types of braided line. We also use the monofilament line that we like to put on there too to kind of help out, of course, from the fish seeing it. And if you have a Spanish or a blue or something out there, it kind of keeps them from, tearing your stuff off a little bit easier whenever you're fishing. But, I use a spinning reel. I love fishing with spinning reels. And at the moment, I love my Penn Battle 2s, and we'll fish with a 2,000 or a 2,500. And some people's like a 2,000 out there on the water, but when, you're fishing for trout and stuff like that, it's really fun, to catch them on a 2,000, which a 2,500, I'm more or less, I'd rather catch a red on them, but I like to fish with both of them. And we'll fish under popping corks, we'll fish with cut bait, we'll fish with lures. It just depends on the time of the year, the water temperature, and what the fish are biting at that time.
What about the line itself? Are you using like 10 pound, 15, 25 pound?
We'll go anywhere from like 10, 20, and sometimes when we're out there, depending on what we're fishing for, we can use cobia. Now, our monofilament line, we normally go with like a 35 pound test on our monofilament line.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
I was going to ask, what kind of boat are you typically going out? You're going out in a little flats boat? Can you catch these trout from land? Do you have access to, if someone wanted to try and catch a few from land, or you really need to be on the water?
You can catch them from land. If people have houses around there, like we rented that house particular, in that picture, we rent that house. And I have actually sat off the bank from that house when we're just sitting around there and caught some redden trout. Just from up there. But we fish from a boat. We go out on a flats boat. We got a Monarch. It's an older model, but it floats very shallow, and that's what we like. We like to get up shallower the better, where we can get up in creeks. We scout them out, so we'll go up in creeks, and we go over oyster bars where we can just like float over and get on up deeper into the creeks to where we think the fish are. Like I said, depending on the time of the year. But we love our boats. There's not a lot of wade fish that goes on around here. I'm not saying you can't. There's certain areas that you can. But for the foremost, around this area, everybody's fishing from boats.
I'm surprised it's so shallow.
And it don't take that long to get out from where we fish at. You put in, you may drive out. We normally put in at rivers because you got the Osceola River. We fish out of there too. The Ickatheny River, Finn Holloway, and even when we go to Swanee, you got probably about a 5-minute ride out the river. And then once you get out on the flats, just depending on where the tides are at, how far you got to go, it's no more than 10 to 15-minute drive once you get on the flats and you can start fishing.
Wow. Well, Carolyn has, she's got a dock, and she likes to, and you were saying earlier about fishing from the dock with some of the houses that you, the one that you rent, for example. Carolyn does that too, don't you, Carolyn?
Oh, it's a quick walk. I take my whatever's in the refrigerator that I don't want to eat anymore, and I put it on a hook and get out my milk crate, and I'm good to go.
Hey, I love it. Hey, when we go there, we go to the Swanee, but we have a little place. We have a place we stay on, like the river, and it's brackish, of course, and it's tide related. But we drive to the boat ramp. But I'll fish off the dock there. Eric will be upstairs resting and all that, and laying up there by watching TV and resting, and I'm down there on the dock. Anytime we go somewhere, I don't stay inside. I'm outside fishing. If there's a body of water right there where I can do it by land until we go out on the boat, that's where I'm at fishing.
Wow.
I love it.
Now, like I said earlier, Terrie was referred to me by Wanda, and I'm not sure. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not sure of the answer. Terrie, do you work helping other ladies, teaching them how to fish?
That is, yes, sir, I do. I'm a part of the Women's Village on social media. It's called the Women's Fishing Village. We got right at 30,000 members. Terrie and Christina run that, but they have put out 3 books, and I had the honor the cover face for them 3 books that you can find on Amazon, and it's on Kindle too. But it's for new women anglers that's coming into the sport that's really not familiar with what they're doing or what to use or how to do it. And these books, we all got together as a village and came up with major questions that we thought these new women anglers, or even women who's already fishing, you can learn something new every day. But it's to help them, this Fundamentals 101 to fishing, and it's saltwater and freshwater.
Cool.
I mean, we ask questions on there. People post questions, and we'll answer questions for them. But I share my fish pictures everywhere. I enjoy getting them out there where they're seen so that other women can say, hey, we can get out there and do that too. I'm always available to help anybody. And Wanda's in the process right now of helping me set up my own network and page and YouTube so we can have maybe like a women's chapter here in the Big Bend area.
Cool.
So where professionals can come together and people who amateurs like to come in, and we can help them out and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that in the future. But I'm very, very, very about helping women anglers get out there, more women anglers get out there. And I also pro staff for Saltaholics, and they're also support women anglers on getting them out there and, trying to get them to fish. Because we need more women out there. It's nothing against the men, because a lot of times if it wasn't for the men, we wouldn't get out there on the boats, or like a lot of women couldn't. But a lot of women just wants to get into the sport, but saltwater is just a little, it's different. You got to learn more about it. You got moons, you got tides, you got oyster bars. I mean, you got rocks. You have to respect Mother Nature. You got to know your weather. You got to know what you're doing. And it's a lot to take in. I've learned this over the years because I fished it my whole life, but I still learn every day.
That's what life's about, is learning every day. And I am a pro lady angler supporter. My co-host is an angler. The co-host that I had before that is a professional kayak angler, who is a lady, one of the top kayak anglers. She'll be on later on today. So I believe ladies play a vital part of this industry. I know it's been a male-dominated industry for many years, but I think that we get the ladies involved, it's going to change it for the better. It's going to make it more of a family-oriented. So this is really the bottom line for me, is to give the families something to do together as a family. For me and my life's experience, fishing was part of the glue, if you will, that held our family together, because we all experienced the same thing at the same time, but yet in that experience, we all had a different perspective, and we would share that. We were, many times I've shared that we would go fishing, we catch fish. My brother, my younger brother would scale the fish. I would clean the fish. My mom would prep the fish for cooking. My dad would cook the fish. So we were all involved in this thing, and we all felt like we had, if you will, skin in the game, if you will. And I think that really was a vital part, because to this day, my brother and I are the best friends. We were always a very, very close-knit family, and I think this was one of the ways that we did that. I want people out there to know that this is a very enjoyable sport, if you want to call it that, activity, maybe a better description. But not only is it enjoyable, it can actually be a vital part of your family, of holding your family together, and it's memories. For my gosh, I still remember,
definitely
building memories.
Most definitely.
You there, Carolyn?
Yeah, I am. I was going to say, even at this tournament weigh-in yesterday, it was great to see a husband, a wife, then you had the junior division and the Pee-wee division, and they were all getting off the boats together. It was so fun.
Cool.
And these girls, I actually held a girl's purse. Little 6-year-old girl held up her fish, and she got a photo taken, and she was so proud. It was the first time she caught something. And I'll tell you what, Dad jumped in the picture, then Mom jumped in the picture. It was pretty touching.
That's
and she'll
awesome.
remember that forever.
That's right.
Yes, she will. That is the right family. The more you can have your family together in the time of days that we live in, if you can get your family into a sport like this, or I mean, really any sport, but this sport right here is just relaxing.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of frees you from the world, and like you were talking about with your family, and y'all did everything together.
Yep.
It plays a role of responsibility and keeping your family together, and and it also in this day and time, it kind of keeps your kids from. It's there with you with family time, and you're not out doing it without them, and and they're missing out. And then like later on when they get older, you don't want them to take the wrong roads or get around the wrong people. If you can keep your family together, as he said, as glue, and do activities
big
together.
Difference. Makes a big. It's easier to raise a child than to try to fix a man. Big difference. All right, my dear. Well, this is what happens when we're having a good time. We're just about out of time. I want to give Carolyn an opportunity to say goodbye to you, and I want to have you back on probably in a month or so. Give us an update about what's going on in your area, and looking forward to that.
I would love to.
All right, Carolyn, you get to say goodbye, and we'll go after a break. Terrie, thank you. Greatly appreciate it, my dear.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me to you. I appreciate this so much.
Absolutely, and I'll see you through Wanda's network too. So we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yes, looking forward to it. Let's do that, please. Thank you. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Here we go.
Sir?
Yep. Well, here we were going. What happened here? Oh.
Don't go away. We'll be
right
back.
See you later.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning, good morning. If you're just joining us, we will have archives up and you can catch up on anything that you missed every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. We are here doing our thing, sharing with you some of the stuff that's going on around the state as well as, surrounding states as well, like we heard from Terrie up in Georgia, even though she does come down to Florida to do her fishing. Hey, Mary, let me bring on my co-host, who is Carolyn Stash. Carolyn is with Atlas Trax. If you want to protect what you love to the max, got to talk to my friend Carolyn at Atlas Trax. Welcome back, Miss Carolyn.
Oh, thank you again for having me, Riscala.
And then my next guest is one of my favorite people in the world. That's Pam Wirth. She's one of the top lady kayak anglers here in Florida. Welcome, Miss Pam.
Hey, how are you guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
We got you.
I'm waiting for Carolyn.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
Happy Sunday, Pam.
Thank you so much. I'm out here fishing with a couple of my native friends. I'm up in Jacksonville, and we're looking for flounder today. That's something that I usually don't target, so it's kind of fun trying something new.
Cool. And what are you using to catch them?
Kind of just dragging a soft plastic on the bottom. They swim up and down and not sideways fish.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of want to drag it along the bottom. So I've got one, Jeff's got one, Linnea's still hunting. So we're having a good time.
Do you get to keep them? Are they in season?
Oh, they're always in season. You just have to have them at the legal size.
Oh, okay.
And Jacksonville area, let's see, Friday was in St. Augustine, and ended up catching some really nice trout and five redfish total, but 3 slots. So that was a lot of fun.
Wow.
And my buddy, Bart Swab, was out there with 2 of his clients. He's a kayak guide out of St. Augustine. And his client caught a 29.5-inch trout. And we just used arties. They were teenagers. His clients were teenagers.
See, that's what I say about fishing. You never know. It can be like the lottery. You can go out and get absolutely nothing, or you can go out and win, get a grand slam and win the big one. That's amazing.
Right. Yeah. Well, they had just caught 2 over 20-inch. And the rule is, you can keep one, but all of us that fish say never keep a trout over really 19 because those are breeders. Those are big breeders. They have almost 100 times the eggs of a 15-inch trout.
Wow.
So you really want to leave them in and let them grow and let them get big. And Bart had just told the kids and encouraged them. He goes, listen, I'm not going to tell you can't keep it because the law says you can. He said, but I'm going to be kind of disappointed if you do. And if you say that to a teenager, usually, okay. And not 10 minutes later, the one kid catches the almost 30-inch trout and had the time of his life. And he's like, I get what you see. I get what you say now. I understand it.
That's cool.
So,
it's good that they understand it at a younger age because that's one less thing we have to worry about when they grow up.
Exactly. And it was just such a great learning experience for them.
Wow.
So Pam, how deep are you now fishing for flounder?
My pedal drive is hitting the bottom. So I'm probably
a foot.
That's inshore.
Yeah, we're fishing. Jacksonville is so different. Like Tampa Bay, it might go up or down 1-2 feet at the most if you have a big full moon tide. Well, Jacksonville, the tide can change like 6 feet. I mean, there's a major change. And I know the first year that I came up here and fished, somebody asked, well, what was it like? And fishing Tampa Bay is so totally different with the mangrove trees and the grass. Here you're fishing oyster beds and tall grass where you have to try to find something weedless to throw up into the grass. So I told him, I said, it's like fishing the moon up here. It's just so different. But that's why I like to travel and try different things. I heard you talking earlier. You're right. You learn something every day. Every day you fish.
I learned today that you can use bananas.
Really? I know they'll catch probably a blue crab.
And yellowtail snapper. I've seen it on video. It's amazing.
That's funny.
I'm going to make sure I have bananas with me when I go fishing.
Yeah, there you go. Grow your own bait.
Oh, my gosh. I tell you, I'm always learning. I am so grateful for all of you that come on the show and share with us because I am always learning. And especially with Miss Pam, because Pam was my second co-host, but the first co-host who was a lady and who really taught me a lot. I learned quite a bit how to hold a fish, circle hooks. I never, Pam, I don't think you know this, but about a week ago I fished the first time ever with circle hooks. I had my experience with circle hooks. We were snook fishing and we caught some tremendous snook. Unfortunately, we had to throw them back. But I realized that you explained it to me, but seeing it in real life, I realized how they work, and they did do a jam up job. We didn't have one of them that swallowed it, that went down in their gut. It was always up in the corner of the mouth. So anyway, some of the things I've learned by doing the show, I'd never had any idea what they were.
Yeah. And it's like 2 weeks ago, I was in Navarra, and Navarra is between Dustin and Pensacola. And as a city, they have embraced kayak anglers so much.
Wow.
I mean, I guess they like our personality. I mean, we're not, we don't do the beer cans all over the place as a general rule.
Yeah.
And I'm not picking on boaters. Y'all don't think I'm doing that. But a lot of us go out and pick up trash. A lot of us are CCA members. And we're collecting trash and stuff like that for the CCA. And they had built artificial reefs 2 years ago and then did a big platform or ramp to make it easier to wheel your kayaks down. Like in Pompano, we have to go, and that is coming up pretty soon, but in Pompano, we have to go like 300 yards in sand that you sink down to your ankles in. And you're hauling a 100-pound kayak and all your offshore gear and a live well, you know? So it's kind of difficult to go through that sand. But here you've got a ramp and you only have maybe 10 yards and 5 of it is hard packed. So, and just, you know, the mayor came out. It was an amazing tournament there. And
wow.
You only had to go like a couple miles and you're in 65 feet of water catching red snapper.
Really?
That was the first time I ever did it. I had so much fun.
Wait a
I
minute.
learned a lot too. The locals were incredible. That's what they say, you know, about other anglers. We like to teach people things. And the guys there were like, well, you know, snapper kind of stay up about 4 to 6 feet from the bottom. You kind of have a grouper rig on. I go, oh, okay, thank you. What do you suggest? They have this chicken rig. I went, perfect. I got it now.
But is that on the West Coast?
It's on the Panhandle.
That's what I thought. And
Navarra. It's between Dustin and Pensacola.
So,
or kind of between Panama City and Pensacola, if that helps.
But what caught my ear is you said, like, you go out a mile or two and you're in 65 feet?
Exactly.
That's a weird, because that's got to be the only place in the area that does that. Because everywhere else, I mean, you're on the West Coast, you know, you have to, if you want to go 65 feet out in Tampa, you got to go 65 miles, basically, right?
Exactly. You are correct.
So that's real. I didn't know that. See, I just learned something else. So where is it's around Navarra that you can go that quickly and just a couple of miles and you're in 65 feet?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they said that the city made that artificial reef, like I said, a few years ago, and now it's attracted the snapper. And it's so enjoyable. And boats really don't come there. I don't know if it's like a restricted kayak area or not, but really boats don't go there. So it's just so much fun.
That's nice when you have an area just for, you know, kayaks and stuff like that. That's great.
Uh-huh. So,
she's trying to say something. Go ahead. Try it again, Carolyn.
No, that's all right. I was gonna ask that tournament, is that a once a year tournament?
Yes, it's the first year they did it, and the person who sponsored it was Derek Benton.
Oh yeah, we've had him on. Yeah.
Yes, he put it together. Originally, it was going to be the goat tournament, and tons of money, big sponsors, the whole bit. But then when the virus hit, a lot of the fishing industry, the sponsors, couldn't get product over. They got hit with, you know, production problems and things like this. And Derek just goes, hey, listen, we're going to call it the Pygmy. We're going to cut back a little bit on the prize money. And he cut back. The entry fees were like only $50, you know, and first prize was $3,000. It was so much fun. I can't tell you how much fun it was.
Cool.
You know, and then usually a weigh-in, you just sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait. You know, it's kind of dull. And what he did in between when people were weighing in fish, all of a sudden he'd roll these dice and select one person and goes, pull out your dollar bills. And he'd roll the dice and he goes, and if these 3 numbers are on your dollar bill, I got $100 for you. I mean, just something totally different.
Wow.
He came out in a red. Yeah, he came out in a red top hat with the wrestling type of belt, and that was the thing to win the belt. And he actually brought a goat out. He brought a goat out.
That is cool.
I can't tell you. I have never fished a tournament that I had so much fun. You know, everybody was having a good time. Everybody was helping people. I saw a couple locals helping a young lady out there. You know, like, she didn't have a depth finder, and they're like, here, drop it here, drop it here. You know, who does that in a tournament? You know, what competition does that for another competitor in a tournament?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really nice thing. And what do you have any plans to be down in Pompano? You'll be down here for the Extreme Kayak tournament, right? Joe's tournament?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hopefully y'all don't shut the beaches down, but I'll be there.
Keeping our fingers crossed with this insanity.
See you when you're there. Root you on.
Oh, that would be so lovely. That would be so much fun. I would love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I'll set up a beach chair and a tent, and as long as the beaches are open, I'll come cheer you on.
There you go. You can see me trying to drag my kayak down there. That's the worst. That's the most extreme part about that tournament, is just trying to get your kayak down and get your kayak back again. Although we have had times where I have a photo where my boat is 3/4 quarters covered in a wave.
Wow.
And my sister and everybody on the beach thought I flipped because the wave just totally went over me and covered me. They were so surprised when they saw me bounce out on top of another wave. Oh, she didn't flip. And I hear people clapping, and I didn't know what it was for. You know, I'm just struggling to get out past the breakers, you know. And so my sister, DK, she goes, Pam, did you hear everybody clapping for you? I go, they were clapping for me? She goes, yeah, we thought you flipped. We were so excited that you're still up when the next wave came. I go, ye people of little faith, thank you very much.
That's a really good point too. I mean, you know, what kind of wave height do you have to actually flip? And once you flip, how do you get it back? How do you lose all your gear? Does stuff fall out?
Not good.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking it. I tie down everything. I lash everything to the boat. There's special, Railblazer makes a special rod leash, like you have a paddle leash. So the only thing I have flipped and the only thing I lost besides my pride was a pliers and a scissors. Oh yeah, my brand new sunglasses. That was upsetting. But that's all I lost. Because everything else I have tied down to the boat. So if it flips, yeah, they're going to get wet, but they're still attached to the boat. And it's fairly easy to flip your boat back over. And most people can get right back in fairly easily. Me, at my age, it's a little harder to get back in. I still practice all the time deep water retrievals back into the kayak.
Don't let her kid you. She's a spring chicken.
Oh, God bless.
Oh, I'm sure you throw yourself right in.
So, yeah. So, you know, I don't have any problems usually fishing out there. There was one tournament where the lightning started hitting and we had breakers out in the ocean. Rollers out there. That was a little hairy. But once you get out, you're usually okay. And then the second, or for me, the worst part is coming back in when you have big breakers. Because if you turn the rudder slightly the wrong way and you're not going in the same direction the wave is, that's when you roll.
Yeah, I've seen it do that to boats. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen people coming in the inlet and not paying attention how that wave is pushing their boat. And it'll literally flip the boat over. Yeah, I've seen that repeatedly. Yeah, so you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
Wow.
You have to be really careful.
Well, I want to wish you an awesome day, my friend, and tight lines to you. I'll let Carolyn say goodbye to you, and we're going to go to a break. And thank you so much for taking time to call in. Good to hear from you.
Oh, my pleasure. And Carolyn, it's such a joy to chat with you also.
Also, Pam, and I look forward to meeting you over here on the East Coast for that tournament.
It's a date, young lady. We'll do it.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Fish Florida. Fish in Florida.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclub.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and, best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise?
Surprise! Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
While other stations just talk a good game, we win it.
Hey, sounds like somebody's having a lot of fun. Oh, I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. It just caught me a grouper. So I'm fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah, fishing and blowing on.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, good morning, good morning. We are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. I am your host, Riscala. Thank you for taking time to join us this morning. I have Carolyn Stesch. She is with Atlas Trax. If you want to protect what you love to the max, get a hold of Carolyn over there at Atlas Trax, and she can tell you how to do that. Welcome back, Miss Carolyn.
Happy Sunday to everybody, Riscala.
Yes, it's a beautiful day so far and very warm. Let me bring on my Keys component here. She's my contact down there, my spy in the Keys, if you will. The one and only Florida Salty Cowgirl. Good morning, girl.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Hi, Angelia.
Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
Good, good. Tell us what's going on.
Well, I tell you what, I've been spending a lot of time in the water the last week or so, and the backcountry is absolutely beautiful. I've not really in the past spent a lot of time in the backcountry, and I'm feeling great because I'm really getting to know my way around and navigating, and the wildlife has just been beautiful. Lots and lots of nurse sharks, lots and lots of dolphins, lots and lots of rays. It's been really nice. And this last week, I actually made it out into a little snorkeling out of a popular spot down here called Hens and Chickens, if anybody's familiar. And absolutely beautiful. Little baby sea turtles everywhere. The tropical fish are just copious amounts of fish out there.
Wow.
So it's been a really beautiful week. Really nice. I've yet to put a line in the water, and I'll admit it, and that really kind of kills me, but just being on the water always makes me happy. And I've been running some tourists around, and watching the tourist reaction to our wildlife is just so pleasing and so much fun. When you can find some dolphins and get them to play around the boat for the tourists, and everybody breaks out cameras, it's just really, really pleasing to be able to share that with people that aren't from here. And by the way, guys, we are so much busier in the Keys now than before our shutdown in March for the whole COVID situation.
Great.
I mean, we are 10 times busier than we were in March before we shut down here. So I'm very happy about that.
Wow.
I'm very pleased. And probably 75% of the people that I'm seeing that are traveling down here to get away are all from Florida. They're just driving down for the weekends because it's easy and it's accessible, and it's the probably the only real paradise that you can really just drive to up here in Florida.
It's one of the few that's left, and it is a different way of life down there. It truly is a different way.
And to see the activity down here like it should be in a normal situation, which we all know the world's not exactly normal at the moment.
No.
To see all the people down here and all the activity, it's just really, really promising. I hope it doesn't change because it's really nice. This is exactly the way summer should be. And yeah, guys, it's hot. It is just plain old hot. Even the water temps are in the 90s. I did some floating at the Islamorada sandbar the other day, and let me tell you, you don't even get refreshed. The water is warm.
Wow.
Really, really warm. I haven't seen manatees in, I don't know, the last several weeks because the water's just too darn warm. They'll usually stay here year round, but I have not seen any lately. I'm sure they all headed north to cooler waters. But everything that should be down here is down here in just great amounts. I'm just really pleased to see the wildlife, the way it should be. It seemed like for a couple of years there, the wildlife was not as evident as we should see it. So it's a good sign of a real healthy ecosystem down here. The fisheries are doing great. The mahi are still coming in. I've even seen a few wahoo come in lately, and it is just the wrong time of year for them. So that's a good sign too.
Wow.
But yeah, everything in the Keys is just going really, really good right now. Weather's been great, besides a few little pop-up squalls. Tourism is strong. Fishing is good. The eco tours are just phenomenal. And anybody who wants to get away for the weekend, I definitely encourage you to get down here.
And just for anybody who's just tuning in or has not listened before, Angelia is a professional captain. She's a guide and a professional captain. So if you want to go down to the Keys and you want to catch some fish, this is the lady to speak with, because all her life has been on the ocean. Some of it on the other side of the state, now on this side of the state, and actually a little bit of it up there in Alaska too. So she's had a very well-rounded experience for people. She knows the West Coast, she knows the East Coast, and she's learning about Alaska as well.
Yeah, and like I said, Scala, I've always been an oceanside girl. Anybody who's familiar with the Keys, we refer to everything on the Atlantic side as oceanside. We refer to everything on the Florida Everglades side or the Gulf side as bayside. And I've never really been a backcountry angler, and I've never really explored the backcountry because it can get very confusing. It's very mazy with lots of little islands and lots of little cuts. And it's really funny. I've been joking lately because you can put me in 5,000 feet of water and it doesn't scare me at all. But what we call skinny water, like 3 foot of water, it scares the heck out of me.
Yeah. You can get grounded very, very easily. You can get lost. If you don't know what you're doing back there, you can get lost in a heartbeat back there because everything looks the same.
Yeah, and heaven forbid you go through the wrong pass at low tide. You can get into 1.5 foot of water, and in a powerboat, it's really, you're holding your breath and staying on a plane.
Yeah.
So you really have to watch your depths, and you really have to know where you're going, and you really have to follow your channels. And I feel great to be able to get to know that side of our islands for a chance. I really haven't done a lot of captaining on that side, and I haven't explored it. So it feels really nice to me to know both sides of the islands. That's really nice for me. So not only the Gulf Coast of Central Florida, but the backcountry I'm learning really well. Oceanside down here in the Keys is my favorite spot in the world. So yeah, I'm getting a little more experience and having a lot of fun with the tourists lately. They've been really nice and just really happy to be here. It's nice to see people out of their homes and enjoying themselves. And like I said, you get to show somebody that's never experienced having dolphins swim around the boat, and they get very, very excited. And it's just really, really pleasing. It's very fulfilling.
Cool.
And Angelia, you're running a boat out of Key Largo. Are you running your boat now? You're running someone else's boat?
I run my boat when I can, and right now, because the tourism is so good, I've been working at one of the elite resorts here in Key Largo, and they've got a really nice little fleet of boats. So it's fun for me because as a captain, I get experience on different kinds of boats, and they're boats that I wouldn't normally work on. I'm used to big, heavy work boats and fishing boats, and I do really well with them. And I'm getting thrown on different boats every day. So I just feel like it makes me more well-rounded as a captain. And like I said, between the different kinds of boats every day and learning the backcountry. It's been a really nice experience for me. I'm real happy about it right now. And then, of course, on my off time, I absolutely do my own charters. So anybody who does want to get out there on the ocean and do some really fun sport fishing, I am always game.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of weather that's on the west coast moving towards the east coast, and you may see a little bit of it, but it's going to be very sparse. It's just a little north of you, it looks like.
No, we've been getting down here is we've been getting all those little pop-up
Yeah,
squalls
that's
in
what
the
it looks like.
You
Yeah.
know? It'll rain and thunder, and the sky will turn black for about 20 minutes, and then it's gone, and you never knew it happened.
Yeah.
Yesterday morning, the wind was just screaming, and, by noontime, it had laid down just really nice where it was an enjoyable day. So it's that time of year, some of it breaks up before it gets to us, and some of it pops up right when it gets to us. So you just never know. Mother Nature has a mind of her own.
True. You
Well,
try.
I'm glad you're back in town.
Oh, me too. I'm really happy to be home. If the work wasn't there, and I was excited about Alaska, I was really excited about Alaska, but if the work's not there, the work's not there. I'm a kind of roll with the punches girl. So I'm actually really happy to be back in my cozy little home in the Keys and working a mile from home and getting some new experience. So, I'm actually really happy. Like I said, you can't really, in this uncertain world these days, you kind of got to just roll with it. So that's what I'm trying to do, just roll with it.
Right. Yeah, you're normally on at 9:45. You've changed your time up, so you're definitely rolling with it.
Yeah, this morning I have a trip that's heading out for an eco tour and paddleboarding around some of the mangrove islands in the backcountry, and it leaves at 10 a.m. So I didn't want to be on the air because I've got people boarding the boat,
Well, it's awesome. And I can't wait to get down there and see you. I know we've been trying to plan a trip, and you're back home and the island's open, so I'll be down there within 4 weeks and hang out.
All right.
Awesome.
I'm glad to hear
just for
that
the
things are
record-
popping.
I'm sorry, just for the record, for anybody who doesn't know about Carolyn's company, Atlas Trax, I've been carrying her satellite tracker, and man, is that thing just the coolest thing ever. When I'm on the move, I get a text every 5 minutes, and if you look at the satellite picture, it's so very cool. It tells you exactly where you're at. It leaves your tracks so that anybody can find where you're at, know the route you took, know your float plan. What an amazing product, Carolyn. I appreciate it so much. I've had so much fun just kind of watching it and playing with it, and just really, really neat things. So anybody who hasn't checked out Carolyn's company, Atlas Trax, I highly recommend it. Anybody who owns a boat, I almost think it's necessary, especially if you're going offshore. And it's just a wonderful addition to your float plan and an extra safety feature, and really cool to let your family and all know exactly where you're at.
And you know what's really cool? I appreciate that. What's cool for you is you can actually go back and look at your trips at being a fisherman and a captain and see where you're productive. Like yesterday, did you get a lot of snapper? Where were you? What was your latitude and longitude? What channel did you go out? So I'll train you how to do that. You can go back and look every place you've been.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
10 feet anywhere
really,
on the planet. Anywhere on the planet within 10 feet. The technology can be some of the coolest stuff sometimes. That is, I don't think you can put a price on that. It's peace of mind. Anything happens, they know exactly where you're at.
And curb, you are so much safer than without. It's just the combination is just a wonderful, wonderful tool to keep you safe at all times and let everybody know where you're at in case of an emergency, because we all know emergencies arise on the water, and you want to keep yourself safe, your boat safe, your guests on the boat safe.
Yep.
And between an ePerb and the Atlas Trax is a fantastic addition to your safety equipment. Just really, really, really useful and really cool. So I can't thank you enough, Carolyn.
Oh, my pleasure, Angelia. I just want to keep you safe, so I appreciate the shout out and want you to have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful day and enjoy this beautiful Florida weather, please.
Well, thank you, Angelia. God bless you, my friend. I wish you an awesome day. Before you go, I think I know the answer, but I just want to be sure. Did you get I call it the pocket version, the little one that you can put in your pocket? Is that what you're carrying?
I do believe so, Carolyn.
Is that where
you have the mini Trax, and I think it's in your backpack.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Everywhere I go.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's not very big, about the size of a credit card, a little thicker than a credit card, but around that size. So, yeah, that's amazing. All right, my dear. Wish you an awesome day. Tight lines.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
All right, Angelia, have a good day. See you soon.
You're listening to the Fishing in Florida show with your host, Scala Stevens. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped. Even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion. Air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclub.com. That's www.susanclub.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
While other stations just talk a good game, we win it.
Hey, sounds like somebody's having a lot of fun. Oh, I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing in Florida where the sun shines all day. It just called me a grouper. So I'm fishing in Florida. Oh yeah, fishing in Florida.
Good morning from the Sunshine State. Broadcasting from Palm Beach County, it's the Fishing in Florida Show. Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. on the WCET FM network. And now, here's your host, Riscala.
All right, we are back. It is the Fishing in Florida Show. Good morning. Good morning to you. If you're joining us just now, we will have archives set up today. Well, we'll have archives set up. I hope it's going to be today. Everything seems to be working okay, so hopefully we'll have archives set up today. Anything that you've missed, you can catch up on. In the meantime, let me welcome back my co-host, Carolyn. She is with Atlas Trax. I'm going to talk a little bit about Atlas Trax. We'll take a minute or two here. Welcome back, Miss Carolyn.
Yes, thanks, Riscala. I love being on the show on Sunday.
I enjoy having you on. You're such a wonderful co-host, and you're so gracious with your time. And the technology, I wanted to take a minute or two and talk about the technology. We talked about I call it the credit card size. I know it's not exactly a credit card size, but it's about that size, a little thicker than one. That's the one that Angelia has. You can actually slip it in your pocket, right? It's small enough to slip in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about 2 inches by 3 inches by a ½ inch tall, and I've had it in my jean pocket quite some time.
Yeah.
She carries a duffel bag everywhere, so she just threw it in that. We've got customers that'll take it from one boat to another. Some of them are permanently installed, but in an emergency, you can just grab it. It's waterproof. It works on batteries. It doesn't have to be hardwired, and it can be found anywhere, 4 to 10 feet in the world.
Yeah, awesome. Self-contained, completely self-contained unit. That's what I like about it. It's not limited to, like you said, most of them are not mounted. It's not limited to a particular vessel or a person. It can be taken anywhere. And that's one of the wonderful things about this technology. The other thing, very quickly, I want to mention is I forget what you call it, the hotspot?
Oh, yeah. We're having great results with the hotspot. It's a satellite hotspot. It's probably the size of a stapler. You can turn that on if you have any kind of emergencies or if you just want to use your phone, but it turns existing cellular phones into your own personal satellite network. So if you're offshore, which, if you're 12 miles offshore in Florida, you have no cell service, turn it on, connect your phone with your contacts to it, make phone calls, do text messaging. If you want to surf the internet or post pictures on Facebook, you can set it all up to do everything just like a normal computer.
Now, see, somebody like me who has this technology kind of background, that is awesome because people don't realize you're using your same phone number. You're not changing anything in your phone. All you're doing is turning this piece of equipment on and then logging into it, and from that point forward, you're anywhere on the planet for that matter, you can use your cell phone. That I think is is really awesome. That and the pet thing. Real quickly, how are we doing with the pet thing? We got them for pets, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So I donated a pet GPS tracker at the Big Dog Fat Cat tournament, which was yesterday, and that was to benefit dog adoptions and obstacle issues with animals. So it was a great place for it. And I got one at silent auction. Someone's taking that home, and I'd love to say that every dog that was there in an air-conditioned van was adopted and taken home yesterday. So that was really exciting.
Great. That's awesome news. All right. Well, a little bit of an update on the Atlas Trax. If you want more information about Atlas Trax, she does have a website. It's www.atlastrax.com. Now, Atlas Trax is ATLASTRAX, X like X-ray, ATLASTRAX, atlastrax.com. You can get more information there. I want to bring on my next guest, and that would be Ben Miller. Ben, welcome to the Fishing in Florida show. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Hear you wonderfully, my friend.
Perfectly,
Excellent.
Ben. Good
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to hear you.
So I had asked Ben to come on because the last time Ben and I spoke, we had a brief conversation, and it was a very inspiring conversation, and it helped me to deal with this insanity that we're going through. There's no other way for me to describe what's happening to us today. And I know that other people feel the stress that is upon them. And fishing, of course, is one of the ways that we can relieve that stress. But there's times when, for whatever reasons, various reasons, we may not be able to do that. So I wanted to bring you on and kind of get an insight on what is a good way for us to deal with the current situation that's going on today.
Well, first of all, it's nice to be talking to you again, and I'm glad that the conversation that we had left such a positive impression. I think that asking about the current situation is in a way similar to asking about how we navigate any period of change and uncertainty and chaos. And one way to look at that is that's really a constant game.
That is true.
Navigating the uncertainty, navigating the perpetual change. In this season, it seems like there's we're inflamed. There's this whole conversation about disease and violence and political strife and economic uncertainty, and it seems that we're having an exaggerated moment. But if you keep a really, really big perspective and you look at eternity as opposed to the moment, you can see that really we're just having another wave that goes through. And if we're going to be able to navigate these waves, these bigger waves that we're experiencing in the moment, we're going to need some methods. right? We're going to need some sort of skill set. And that's really what we're talking about when we talk about mindfulness, right? Or this question about, I guess, spirituality. But for me, it's about navigating the experience.
How I know that your perspective, not yours particularly, but I'm saying your perspective as a general statement. I know that maybe it's better this way. I know that a lot of people's perspectives on what is happening is extremely stressful to them. And I'm an example of that. I'm under a lot of stress with what's going on, and I'm finding myself with a more and more difficult time in dealing with it because it doesn't seem to be going away. So I wanted to have someone like you who could give me some insight, someone who's, I know that the way that you look at it is not the same way that I look at it, and a lot of the issues that we run into is our perspective. How do we look at something? How do we look at it as a problem, or do we look at it as a challenge, or do we look at it as, how do we look at it? What is our perspective on it? Mine, I'm desperately trying to keep it, looking at it as a challenge, something that I can overcome, instead of, oh my gosh, this is like the end of the world. But how do you do that when it's constantly blasted at you day in and day out?
You're getting close to the skill. The perspective is so relative to where we're taking that stand in that moment, right? How we're looking at whatever the object is that we're examining. And there's such a multitude of perspectives, and it's not about right and wrong. Each one of them brings us a different, facet of the situation. So all of those are valid perspectives, and they all bring you some knowledge, right? So the bigger skill is to be able to hold them all, right? You have to hold the best outcome of all the possible on one end, and you have to hold the worst outcome of losing it all and having it, go away. I mean, everything rises and falls. So if we can't be big enough to accept the best and the worst at the same time, if we can't be spacious enough to do that, then we're going to lose our freedom, right? And be leveraged into one perspective or another.
So
it's the skill of shifting the perspective is the real key. Not to have one or the other, but the knowledge and the skill to be able to shift between them according to what your heart is telling you.
Do I understand that part of this would be flexibility then? You need to be very flexible in the way that you are seeing things? Would that be a way to look at it?
Absolutely. Flexibility is part of it, that, not getting too attached, too gripped, too contracted around any particular opinion. It's good to have opinions. Let's have our preferences, but let's hold them very lightly so that when situations change and options shift, that I can let go of that opinion and create a new preference that's relative to the options available in this moment. We have to be big enough and spacious enough to hold the best and the worst ends at the same time. If we're denying that possibility, the cognitive load, the amount of mind space it takes up, it distracts us, and it takes us away from acting, at a more peak level.
Is that part of? I'm thinking of myself now. Is that part of what causes the stress? Because you're filling your mind up with, you're not balanced. Maybe that's a better way to describe it. You're not balancing between the two of them, and you're overdoing it on one, and therefore when that doesn't happen, it creates stress. Am I right? Am I looking at it? I don't know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And it's about understanding that in response to uncertainty, we feel fear.
Yeah.
And fear keeps us from being in a more conscious and reasonable and compassionate way as we live our life. Fear puts us in a rush where we are reacting in a habitual way rather than responding in a way that's courting and appropriate, you know, and it's being spacious enough, again, to find some equanimity between these different ends. And then that gives us the option to look at it in a bigger way and choose which perspective in that moment is going to, you know, keep us upright and not toss us about so much. And that's the stress. When you're starting to get tossed about, we call that stressing, you know.
And you know what I find? I find I have hour-long stress, then I have day stress, then I have week stress. And the hard part is trying to figure out when I'm sitting around panicking about maybe my job or my mother's health or my health, that it's deterring me from being productive doing other things. And then I have the day stress, which is, okay, now add what's going to be for dinner, how am I going to make it, what time does it have to be on the table? It's you know, there's all these segmented things that all pile on top of each other, Ben, and then you're like, holy cow, now it's a whole week of being stressed.
Sure. and that's a very fragmented and distracted and melodramatic place to be in. It's just that state of mind is very, you know, I know that you guys are stressed, and I know that we're feeling fear, and I know there's uncertainty, but I also assume that during all of this, you have slept in comfortable beds, you've been fed every day, you always had shelter from the rain, right? And I assume that there is plenty to feel gratitude for. And framing yourself and putting yourself in a state of mind that allows for this spaciousness that I'm talking about. You can't do that if you're in the rush of processing all of these circumstances that you're talking about, Carolyn. But if you start it by framing gratitude and feeling the abundance that we have, because we're all sitting pretty for the most part. Yeah, it's stormy weather, but I think we're doing pretty well for the most part, you know. And then when we're centered in that gratitude, we can open ourselves up to accepting the worst case and the best case, right? And that's the big spacious quality that we have to accept to allow our minds to rest. Like, we're exhausting our minds with avoiding the bad outcome. Just accept it. There's a possibility. It's not likely, but it's a possibility. And if you can accept that, then you can relax your mind around it, and then you have a, you know, ability to be back in your consciousness where you're getting closer to your peak states, where you're reasonable and you're rational and you're compassionate, you're being gentle on yourself, and things get easier.
Do you have any advice for our listeners and myself? I know I fall asleep hard and then I'm up all night thinking. What do you recommend? How do you turn your mind off without getting up and pacing or hitting the refrigerator or taking Ambien? I mean, any recommendations for turning a mind off in the middle of the night when it's quiet in the house?
Sure. I mean, I would a couple of things here. Sleep's not something you do, right? Sleep is not another activity. Sleep is you give up and you allow and you fall back, you make a retreat, you know, you go in. And we're we're so focused on doing and productivity, and we feel like we need to get our sleep in. We got to do some sleep here. And that kind of determined to sleep will really sabotage you. So that's part of it. The other part is, you know, treat it like landing a plane. Don't try to turn it off like a switch, but like as you're descending into your evening, start to cool things off and quiet things down and like settle and allow yourself that curve to settle down. You know, dim the room, take your eyes away from the bright lights and be gentle, kind of land yourself. The part about trying to stop your mind from thinking is a fool's errand. The mind thinks, it's what it does. You'll stop thinking when you're dead, don't worry. But for now, you just have to allow the mind to do its thing. And you let the thoughts, you know, treat it like sitting at the river or sitting at the shore where you're watching the waves come in. You got to just let it do its thing. The mind is its own, you know, nature. You cannot govern the mind. You can allow it to do its thing and give it the space, you know. What also helps me is I jump on the YouTube and I find some guided meditations, or I put on my Spotify and I find some ambient nature sounds. I put my earbuds in, you know, and I try to focus on something like that rather than, you know, hook on to all the thoughts that are swimming through.
I tell you, I like your analogy of landing a plane, and I'm going to try and use that tonight. That's a really good thought process of cooling your mind down. I like that.
One other thing that can be helpful is a process of recapitulation, which is, before you actually lie down and put yourself in sleep position, go through your day, like recap the day, go through it, think about it, give it a little bit more processing energy. And then when you get through it, tell yourself, way to go, good effort. You gave it, good thinking, and allow yourself permission to put it away. Let your subconscious work on it from that point.
Well, I know from experience, I went through a course a while back. It was called Gratitude Training. And in this course, it was similar to what you're talking about. There was a lot of areas that were in helping us to deal with life, just basically with life. But the thing that I got out of that is when I changed my attitude to gratitude, it seemed like my life changed. It seemed like just everything around me was different, completely different, much more enjoyable. And then gradually,
I love that, and I think that the key point was when you shifted your perspective. It wasn't that you even shifted to gratitude, although that is a great place to go. But you can shift into gratitude. You can shift into ease, right? You can shift into I don't give a shit. You can like shift into no big deal, right? You can, as long as you can shift, then you're free, right? It's when you get locked into one spot and you lose the option, then you're stuck, right? So that's the key. But gratitude is a fabulous starting place, always.
Well, what has happened over the years is that's chipped away and chipped away and chipped away, and finding myself not in that position. And that's, again, another one I heard when you and I first had the first conversation that brought me back to those memories. And
that's just
kind of a reminder,
that's just practice.
Yeah,
the whole game is forgetting and remembering again, right? And forgetting and remembering again. And our life is going to be a series of those moments where we've forgotten ourselves and we've gotten caught in the dream and we're getting, swept away. And then we remember, we go like, oh, right, it's bigger. And here I am. And then we're going to fall asleep again. And let's just delight in that. Let's not be terrified by that. Let's enjoy remembering and forgetting and remembering again.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
I was going to say a lot of it is just focusing again. I know, and Ben can tell you that I just go to see him and I get carried away and I don't know, where to stop and when to start, and my brain is going a million miles an hour, and it's just the peaceful way that Ben has you, or any therapist would have you look at what's in front of you, like this COVID, or it could be relationship, or it could be health, and he's been through all of those with me. And I could tell you that I'm a little distracted and lost my way, so I definitely need to come in and see you, Ben.
Like a reminder.
We'll clean your windows. Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Come Windex my windows a little bit and send me on my way. And it's amazing just to have a perspective from someone that's trained in it, like Ben, or another person that's certified in the acupuncture and the thought process. And I know today, right now, I'm going to be a little bit lost as what I'm going to do. And, I'm going to try and put on some music and listen to the birds and try and find some cicadas and step away from the COVID for a moment.
Yeah,
we have to do both. We do it all, right? We're big enough to do it all. We really can.
Again, for me, this is chipped away bits and pieces, and having someone like you kind of brings back the memories. It reminds me of where I was at one time, and then I think to myself, had I just come out of that that training, that session, that was quite involved went on for the last part of it went on for 3 months. When I had first came out of that, I felt like I could overcome. I didn't care what happened; it didn't matter. I could overcome it. And over a degree of time, I'd lost that confidence. I'd lost that ability to look at it as something that is over. It's a challenge. Something that this isn't the end of the world, but this is something that I have to work through. And
I would say that you picked up a skill right?
Right,
And
that's what it is,
skills are
exactly.
learnable.
Yeah.
We can all learn skills, right? And really what you're just talking about is, I put the instrument down, I haven't practiced lately.
Right.
No problem, And I think when you guys talk about the perspective I bring, I consider that conversation like I'm a wisdom carrier, right? These are old perspectives. They're not mine, right? And they're not personal, and they're not even limited to one culture or one thesis or one philosophy, right? Whereas in this moment, we have knowledge carriers, and we carry all this knowledge and we carry all this information about technology, and it's all very momentary. But there's a difference between the knowledge to get through the moment and the wisdom to be able to navigate a lifetime. Right?
Yeah.
And we're trying to kind of bring those together into a cooperative way so that we can do both. We can both be knowledgeable in the moment, rational, but also be wise in our hearts and be compassionate.
Wow. I like that. That's pretty cool, Ben. Thank you.
My pleasure. You guys are pretty cool.
Oh, my goodness. You trying to say something, Carolyn? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you.
No, I was absorbing the wisdom carrying, and I never thought, again, we're not trained to think that way. And when you say even a simple sentence and thought like that, it's almost like, wow, I get that.
It is.
And this is where our parents and our grandparents are so important, right? They carry the wisdom.
Yeah.
They really do.
No.
And when we're doing these kind of, struggles, talk to your parents and grandparents. They've been through a lot. They're going to help you.
It is a skill. And I can see different analogies between this and fishing. I many times I've said, when you go fishing, you may be targeting a specific fish. You may be looking forward to it. You just know you're going to catch something. You go out there and you do the best you can, and you come back empty-handed. And it's kind of a letdown. Well, it's kind of a lesson.
But you also accept that you might not catch anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you still delight in going out, right? And so when you accept the whole range of outcomes, listen, I might land the biggest, the most beautiful, and I might come home empty-handed. Either way, it's a beautiful day, And that attitude, if we can approach
exactly.
that, that's fantastic.
That's what I need to be reminded of, because I've just been bombarded with this for the last 90 days or so. Of this, what's going on, and it has really taken a toll on me. I'm just being honest, brutally honest. It's really taken a toll on me. I'm frustrated, I'm angry, and I know that neither one of them are necessary if I use the right perspective and look at it in the right way. It kind of flows off of you. You become like, a friend of mine used to tell me, you need to be Teflon coated, where all the stuff just kind of slips off of you. You don't let it stick to you like it does, because an individual like me, it does. It bits and pieces of it stick to me, and a little piece here and a little piece there is no big deal. But after a degree of time, it's no longer little pieces. Now they're big chunks.
Well, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you're investing in certain aspects of the story. And the story that you're telling is neither wrong nor right. I hear your story, and your story is very similar to a lot of stories we're hearing.
Yeah.
But it is just that. It's the story you're telling, and it's the meaning you're constructing around these events, right? And that's very malleable, right? So then if a part of that story, no longer holds up, then you have to be open to retelling it and relooking at it and rephrasing it, and it's got to be an ever evolving story of how I am in this moment, and what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Be playful about it.
It's pretty heavy. What we're going through, I would have a hard time finding someone that would tell me, generally speaking, oh yeah, everything is fine. I don't know of anybody.
It's not everything is fine. It's everything's fine, and also we're facing a global pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything is eternal. So it's got to be both.
I understand where you're coming from, but I'm saying a lot of the people that I speak with are know that there is something wrong. There's just things are not the way that they were at one time. Maybe that's a better way to describe it.
Yeah.
And
they're not incorrect. Yeah,
and
they're not incorrect. Go ahead.
And in that change, they find a great deal of what's the word I'm looking for? Uncomfortableness. I can't think of the right word.
Yeah.
Discomfort.
Yeah,
They're extremely uncomfortable with what's going on. I'm one of them. And finding ourselves in that position. I mean, I go fishing. I went fishing. It was wonderful. It was one of the best fishing trips I've ever had in my life. It was phenomenal. It took my mind off of everything for a couple of days, but then I find myself I'm bounced right back in. It's like a trampoline. I bounced up, I'm up for a little while, and during that time that I'm up, hey, everything is great. The gravity's,
Yeah.
and then I come back down,
It's where your attention settles. Sure.
Yeah, and that's why I really do enjoy having someone like you to remind me that you're not going crazy. This is a lot of other people feel similar to you, and there are ways to work your way through it. It is a skill. You're right. You're absolutely correct. Like fishing is a skill.
And every one of us can practice and learn these skills, right? No one's cut out from that. It doesn't take a certain intellect or age or training or anything. We're all open to it.
I think for me, the thing that's missing that I used to do quite a bit that I haven't done, and you're probably going to agree with me, is I don't meditate anymore. In the last 90 days, I don't think I've meditated once, where I used to do it on a daily basis. And I think that has caused almost like a landslide in the way that I'm dealing with all of this, that I've lost the ability to let it bounce off me, to be. Maybe that meditation acts like a Teflon coating, so to speak, if you will.
Yeah.
It just kind of lets it flow
The
out
word
of
meditation is very tricky and kind of charged up. But what it is it's about the skill of being able to focus your attention, okay? Focus. You bring your attention to a focus point. Then it's the skill of being able to maintain focus, which is called concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, once you have the ability to focus and concentrate, then you're going to be playing with the mind and the distractions of your sensory experience, right? So you get distracted, you go down that little trail, and then you notice I'm distracted, and you bring your focus back. That moment of bringing your focus back, whether it's to the breath or to your body or whatever, to something singular, that's like doing a push-up. That was your rep. You just did one. You let go of the mental thing. You came back into focus. You just did a pull-up. Okay, now you're focused for one breath or a half a breath, and then you get distracted, and then you realize, oh, I'm distracted, and you refocus. That's another push-up, right? And you're growing a muscle, the let-go muscle, right? You're growing your let-go muscle, and each time you let go and you come back to focus, you strengthen that, and that strengthens into concentration. Okay, that's what mindfulness is about. It's a training to build concentration and focus. So yeah, you can call it meditation. I'm a little bit, I avoid that word in a way because it's so charged up, right? It's really about letting go of the distraction, refocusing. That was a push-up. I totally get that. I've been doing that. And then you get that over time. You start to be able to concentrate. Now, when you're under pressure and the chaos is up, you've got some let-go muscle ready. You don't have to cling on.
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, because I think when I came out of that training, that muscle, if you will, was quite a bit stronger than it is now, and I would have handled it much better than
toned up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and honestly, we all expected this to be a little bit over by now, and we didn't expect it to extend, or maybe we did, and we just didn't think in our heads it would happen. But
yeah, you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
That's a good one, Ben.
But yeah, again, how many people are not looking at it the way that you're describing? I'm one of them who was looking at it in a unbalanced way, and
take it as a yes and, because you're not wrong. Just say, yes, it's this, and it's more, right? Yes, it's this, and I can feel grateful. Yes, it's terrifying, and I can still have a nice day.
True. That is true. I think if we take long enough to think about it, that's the thing. It's almost like I'm on autopilot, and that one component that you mentioned earlier, the fear thing. I'm not so much in fear as much as I am frustrated. I'm just frustrated that, like Carolyn said, we expected to be over by now. I really expected this to be done by now. And
that
it's not.
frustration is because you're holding the old plan up against the new moment, and they're not reconciling.
Yeah.
Okay. And your options have shifted, and you need to reconcile the old plan with the new options and make a new plan, which is never more than half the plan because we don't know what's going to happen until it happens. So that's the flexibility you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. The letting go part, I think, is the difficult part. It's, I don't know if that's just me particularly, but or if it's
That's a story.
Yeah.
You're right. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Letting go is the trick. So make sure that you tell the story that like you let go of things with a light grip, right? Like I have preferences, but I let go of them lightly. That's the goal, right? I love what I love, but then you gotta let it go too. Otherwise, it's gonna fight you, right? So hold it, but hold it lightly. Don't let go of desire, but be easy about it.
Yeah. Well, I know I've learned from my life's experience that stress is the root of disease. And the less we can stress out, the better we are for our bodies, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And having you on is like a breath of fresh air, my friend. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, and I really like your analogy of heading out for a long 10-hour day fishing with the expectation that you might come back with nothing. That's an interesting thought process, and I think it does apply.
I mean, I think we know that when we go out, but we really don't like to think about that, I don't want to come back empty-handed.
But you've accepted it, and it doesn't burden you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's some behind the scenes thing where you've accepted that, right? And we haven't accepted all the worst outcomes that, we're trying to mitigate in our lives. But we can't. You can accept it and then still respond accordingly. It doesn't mean you're inviting it. But when you accept the possibility, then it releases you from the heaviness of it.
And you can do baby steps, Rascala. We can do that thought process on, a typical day of both of us going out and working. Maybe we accept the possibility that the day, we might not get that deal, but we're still out there. We're still a roof over our head. We have food when we get home. We've got a comfortable bed, like Ben was saying, and then take the next day and already almost pre-accept it and go out and do the best we can.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about detaching from outcomes and putting it into the rightness of the effort. Like, what's the right effort? Not the outcome. What's the effort that's right?
Wow. Well, my friend, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Words of wisdom.
Thank you, guys. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, my friend, and I wish you an awesome day. Carolyn, I'll let you say goodbye.
Yeah. Question: do you guys practice down on Commercial or Oakland and Fort Lauderdale, and can you tell us how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, give me an email at elementalhc@gmail.com, or you can call me at 786-512-9790. I'm open for consultations, and I do have a small private practice for some patients. If you're interested, give me a ring or an email. Hope you guys are having a great day. Bye.
Thank you. God bless you, Ben.
Okay, see you guys. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye. Cheers.
Carolyn, I want to thank you for introducing me to Ben. Really, a person that that you meet, that you run across, that can really have an impact on your life in a way that, because like I mentioned to him, I'd been through this training, and had it been that I had just come out of this training and this went down, I really think I would be handling it much, much better than I'm handling it today. And I think the reason that I'm having a difficult time is I've allowed the world to chip away at that perspective that I had at one time, which is very similar to what he's describing. It brings back a lot of memories in that we did so many different activities to awaken our minds. And imagine there's 3 components to this training. The first one was 100 people, 100 strangers, and it was a 3-day ordeal. Now, 100 strangers started out not knowing each other, and by the end of the 3 days, we had built lifelong relationships where I'm still in contact with some of these people, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. And then there was filtered out, some of those filtered out, and not everybody made it, and then we went on to the next step and the next step, and before it was all over, there was I think about 40 of us before it was all done that I'm in contact with on almost a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, and see how they're doing and what's going on. And it completely changed my outlook on life. And having someone like Ben, it's kind of like a reminder, if you will, of the way that you're looking at things can really have an effect upon how you're going through life.
Yeah, and meeting him in person, he's such a soothing way about him, and he talks very slowly with his hands. And he'll do acupuncture with me. He'll do something very unique. He'll take almost like an incense and light it on fire so it smolders, and just barely touch your skin until it almost makes a blister. It's not uncomfortable, but it's drawing out some of the toxins. But to be in front of a person, a master like him or anybody else, in the listeners' area, so soothing. When you leave, you think you can do anything just from the words of wisdom. Even just sitting there and talking to him, as we did just now for 20 minutes, and you have a whole different outlook. We just have to make sure we remember everything he's saying daily and think about one thing and not be overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. We have to be able to remember and not allow circumstances outside of our control to chip away, and that's what's happened to me. As I can't control this thing. This I think that's part of the frustration. As a man, men want to have control over their lives, and I have no control over what's going on. And it's frustrating. So I'm happy that you introduced me to him. I'm so grateful that he came on and spoke some time with us, and it's a reminder. I'll be thinking about that all day today.
Me as well. And, I'd love to get the two of you together, and just, the listeners out there, just, be aware. It's, this will be over soon, and everybody's doing really, as good as we can do in the moment is something that Ben would say.
Yep. All right, my friend, God bless you, and thank you. Wish you an awesome day.
Have a great day, and now to all the listeners, be safe.
We'll be back in a week. Thank you, people.